paper magic will survive like the heat death of the universe, and will...
Oh, it's a smuggler's copter. Would you like to crew this? And then it crashes because they don't understand arithmetic.
All your cards belong to me.
2 minutes into macing him in the eyeballs, I switched to pepper spray. He's like, it's all right, refreshing. And went back to the mace.
Magic is dying. I'm done. Selling everything.
I might be a hoarder. And yes,
I don't have the crayons or glue to explain this to you right now.
What, are you gonna die twice?
Oil will be worthless before magic cards will.
well, okay, Dr. Man.
That's Mr. Dr. Professor Jason.
Hello, everybody. Welcome into Brainstorm Brewery. I'm Corbin Hostler, back from the hole I was in last week of just infinite work. But hey, here I am on the other side, joined by DJ and Cass for this week's Brainstorm Brewery. Welcome in.
Welcome to all of the people who can block warriors. Corbin and I worked the same event last weekend, and he decided to take a break from the podcast, and I just powered through it because, you know what? I'm a big fan of at-work podcasts. I think that podcasts who are at work and at recording should always work, and you know what, Corbin? We're thinking of starting a union on this one, and
Oh, gosh.
I don't know if you'll make the cut.
Yeah, I've been thinking about, on that note, Mark Rosewater's Drive to Work podcast. And you're right, that is a good concept. What if we... I was thinking maybe I would do... Because I was going to say, I was on a plane, right? But, what if I did a fly to work podcast?
Whoever's sitting next to you on the plane would be allowed to kill you.
I just record my podcast on the plane.
So,
Thinking this is an untapped market.
A long time ago, a friend of mine and I had this idea of, we were driving back from a tournament, and we stopped at a 24-hour Korean restaurant on our way home. And we're sitting in the back of this restaurant, and there's nobody there. We're like, what if we just recorded a podcast in this restaurant right now as we were eating? It can be a restaurant review, tournament recap. And we start recording it, and we're like an hour in, and we realize that this is the dumbest thing we've ever done, because every single time our waiter comes up, we have to be like, we ask this guy for his permission to be on the podcast, which is an insane thing to ask your waiter, or we have to edit it super heavily. And so we just didn't put it out there. But if anybody ever wants to do a restaurant/tournament review podcast, hit me up.
There you go. Well, I know KYT, shout out to KYT, back in the day, Canadian Magic legend, did a podcast at a coffee shop with somebody else. It was like a magic coffee shop podcast. I don't know if that's a... Imagine if everybody were making coffee shop podcasts. First of all, it would probably be more customers inside a coffee shop than most days. But I have to imagine it would not be good for long-term business.
No. Oh, these two dipshits at the table ordered the cheapest thing on the menu so they could record their podcast. Sat there for 2 hours talking about high-value men or whatever. Like, yeah, obviously it's going to be bad for business. Oh, the kind of person who's going to do that, the kind of person who's going to game that and make it terrible is going to be that kind of person. I'm sorry to say.
Well, I heard this. I don't know how true this is, but it's a whole thing about how restaurants or coffee shops or whatever you want to call them, that general sort of vibe of place went out of their way at some point to make it less cozy and welcoming because people loitering around was actually way less profitable than just turnstiling people through the maximized efficient space and out the door.
The kind of person who went to a Starbucks to write their novel was not profitable.
Yeah.
Any sort of left-leaning space that suddenly super hard left-leaning space that suddenly realizes that it can't always be a utopia is like a little bit of a Schadenfreude for me, right? I am obviously very, very progressive in a lot of ways, but learning about food, what's the word? Any sort of food co-op, learning that they eventually have to be a company is always really funny to me.
Yeah, I mean,
once they scale, right?
Buddy,
obviously there's these systems work in what?
Buddy, we exist in the third space that doesn't actually make that much money unless you make it bad industry. Come on, dog.
True.
You are the leech suckling off of the fucking teat of what could be a wonderful, beautiful thing, DJ.
Well, I mean, that's basically... Yeah, that is basically
for the
kind of what
podcast
it
or
comes
for
down
magic
to.
cards, because both can be true.
There are bigger leeches, which we might get into later. But you are a small leech in that regard. So mind your Schadenfreude, big dog.
I think that is one way to put it. I think another even more cynical way to look at it is that it was simply marketing in the place. And once they cultivate that image, it doesn't actually matter whether it's comfy when you get in there or not, because you still have developed that cozy image of Starbucks.
McDonald's sort of tried to become like a cool Wi-Fi cafe, and they realized that it was cutting into their profits. They just had to fire off a few shots to lower the property values. Like they had to make McDonald's a little bit shitty again, and I think they've done that.
Oh, I mean, it's pretty
we used to be a
efficient
society
now.
with play places.
The play places, and remember they had those giant touch screens you could go play on. They had a Nintendo.
I know exactly where you grew up when you say ours had an N64. Okay,
yeah. So that's what we had that too. It was amazing.
Yeah.
Was I the only one who didn't?
Maybe, man. You're too young.
I grew up in the woods, but like it was the woods near a city.
You're just too young, maybe. I don't know. We had the N64 thing. It was amazing.
Yeah, Nintendo put N64s and then later GameCubes in McDonald's, and like they usually had Smash on them. Like it was a marketing thing for Nintendo.
I must have. This is my Shamrock Shake, I guess.
Well, I was watching a retrospective on one of my favorite sports shows, and one that I watched basically every day growing up, Around the Horn, which ran for 23 seasons, and its whole premise was it had journalists on, like actual journalists who had to be working at newspapers or TV stations covering the teams, right? And the show got canceled, not because it had bad ratings or was unprofitable, but simply because ESPN's entire model is becoming athletes with a platform pre-existing, or big YouTuber, essentially. And it's like a big thing about the death of the last journalism show. And it just speaks to this kind of like this golden time. McDonald's is also kind of like this golden time of TV, of like cable television for a very particular age of people, right? And then everything becomes so fragmented after that I imagine it's much more difficult for the average, say, 23-year-old to relate to like shared cultural experiences, because you could just have a different corner of TikTok. Maybe I'm wrong.
I think it's kind of the reverse, where like I think there's almost this homogenization of experiences because of how everything is,
because of algorithms,
A, marketed to us, and B, so accessible, right? Like I think about this a lot, about sort of the golden age of the internet before they realized that it was the perfect marketing tool, the perfect misinformation tool, or whatever.
Yeah.
I think about like, old like V-Bulletin forum days, getting into arguments with people over like new Magic spoilers. That was the life.
I was there for new Phyrexia's leak, which was like towards the end of this, right? Like, but like,
Yep.
still the Venn diagram of social media and MTG salvation crossing over a little bit, but I was there.
Well, and also one of the I think something that speaks to like just the way we use language that probably doesn't make sense to, for instance, my children, is just actually using the term the internet at all. Like,
Yeah.
the internet, it used to be a thing. You go on the internet, right? But to a child who's raised with it, you don't go on the internet. That stuff just exists. It just like
I
YouTube
think
just is
or whatever.
YouTube just is YouTube, right?
I feel like nowadays that's converted to like, am I on Wi-Fi or not?
I think the thing Corbin's talking about is like when we were younger, we would get on our computer and we would go on the internet. We would open our browser and we would browse the internet. Nowadays, it's like, are you on TikTok? Are you on YouTube? Are you on Chrome? Like, what application are you using? We've sort of compartmentalized it, right?
And literally everything you do, even if you're playing a video game, is quote on the internet, right? Because that doesn't mean anything anymore. Everything is just connected. My refrigerator is on the internet. Like, that just doesn't. You know, so when we talk about the early internet days, like, it's just, I think, just even more dated maybe than we realize, because it's not like, oh, the internet is different these days. It's like that version just like, it's not that it's different, it's that it just doesn't exist.
I remember like the first website that I remember using was, I was fairly young, and I made a profile on the Lego forums to discuss Legos. And I'm like a little kid, and I'm just like, oh, I got this cool new Lego set the other day, guys. I was building this. And it's like a bunch of 40-year-old men being like, Oh, what? You don't know all the terms for the different pieces, kiddo? Get back when you're a little bit older. And that was transformative to me. It made me angry at the world. And nowadays, kids log on the internet, and it's the same experience but more direct.
Well, I was
Nothing
say
ever
reverse.
changes. It's just about
They
how
know
bad it is.
everything.
It's
They know
reversed
everything
nowadays, where
now.
they're the ones being mean to you.
Yeah, they know everything. If you don't know what if you don't know what an illegal building technique is with Lego, are you even trying?
Illegal building technique?
Yeah, man.
There's certain things that are like forbidden techniques for Lego to produce because they're either structurally unstable or they have a risk of breaking pieces, or they're like not allowed in competition specifically.
Correct. It's something if you're not
something in
allowed
that
to,
space.
for instance, you're not allowed to take the pieces even when they will fit in and turn them sideways to squeeze in between the others. That it would be known as an illegal build technique.
Yeah.
To my mom,
There
the
are
illegal build
rules.
technique was taking the really two flat ones and putting them together. That would just never
not
come
even-
apart anymore.
Not even an issue anymore. They provide a tool in every set that lets you separate those.
Yes, they do have a separator. I learned about that recently as well.
Those things are choice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I got Legos everywhere. What do I got right here? Right next to me that Ben built. Got a X-Men. I got
X-Jet, if you will.
an X-Jet, if you will. I've got oh no, well, Luke's X-Wing's seen better days, but
Well,
got
that's,
some
first of all, it's not an
pieces.
X-Wing. That's Anakin's A-Wing, I believe.
It's supposed to be Luke's. No, you might be right. Here's the other piece. Anyway,
Yeah, I think
it came with an art. Anyway, there's a lot of Legos in my house. I learned all about them and the illegal build techniques. And you know what else? We learned about recently. Cass went to Pokemon. We learned about that. I saw a lot of posts from friends playing at Pokemon. Did you
Yep.
compete?
I did briefly compete. I think my deck was very good. I think I played pretty bad, and I got a little unlucky. And you need at least two out of those three things to go your way to do well in an
Sure.
event. So I did 1-3 drop, but then I did a lot of shopping, which was great. The thing about scrubbing out of a Pokemon event really early is that it's hard to be that upset because it's just a great vibe in there. Everyone's just happy to be there. This is also the sweatiest event of the season. It's the last regional, and so everyone's trying to get their points to qualify for Worlds.
Sure.
And like, I heard somebody in round 2 ask their opponent to concede.
Oh God.
Like, it
Well,
was
that-
sweaty.
I'm
But it was
not
still
gonna
the most fun
lie.
event. It's
Yeah,
better
well,
than
I'm
the
not-
Magic event.
Yeah, like so. What was the? So this is the regionals. People have to do well to qualify. Are you playing Charizards from 1999? Like, what is the Pokemon format?
This was standard, which is like the last 2 years of cards. Specifically, everything we have now is everything from the Scarlet and Violet era is legal.
Fun.
The best deck by a pretty wide margin is Gardevoir EX, which is what both me and a couple of my friends played. The finals was a 60-card Gardevoir mirror match between a guy who won a different regional this season and a guy who has won 3 other regionals this season with Gardevoir.
Wow.
And it's weird to say that like Gardevoir is the best deck by a lot, but the format also has like 5 pretty viable decks.
Well, that was
it
going to be
might
my
just
question: is how much? To me, Pokemon is like an ultimate RNG game because of how much coin flipping. But you say one person is.
So that's like very much the red decks are easy, like only knuckleheads need to play those like mentality. I'm pretty sure the only coin flip that happens at all in Pokemon competitive play, at least at the highest level, is the see who goes first. There is a card in the Gardevoir deck that can confuse your opponent's Pokemon, but it doesn't come up super often. Like I used it against my opponent in our round 3. And instead of flipping a coin for confusion, he just retreated his Pokemon and made a different play instead. And it was just like a strategic thing. The actual RNG comes in just like having a non-functional draw, but that's going to happen in any card game.
There's not a bunch of Pokemon that have like flip 2 coins. This does 80 damage times the number of heads.
I think
there
you're
are, but
thinking
they're
in
all like
a 2004 mindset.
Thinking, well, no, that's Pokemon Pocket 2025.
well, those cards still exist in Pokemon. They're just like uncommons and not tournament playable.
Right. That's kind of what I mean. Is that you're thinking of like what you played as a kid?
No,
Like,
I'm literally thinking of Pokemon Pocket right now, where
I
I
know.
play like
Pokemon
Marowak
Pocket
EX.
is not Pokemon
like,
TCG at all.
right,
That's why I
yeah.
ask. Yeah. But like no,
Pokemon Pocket is closer to Duels of the Planeswalkers than like it's like the Duels of the Planeswalkers to Magic, where it's just like a simplified version of the game. Honestly, it's more simplified than Duels of the Planeswalkers ever was, but
yeah, I mean it's fairly simplistic, but there is still a lot of coin flipping in the game, which is why
that's because it's the Gacha phone game or whatever, not the the game that they printed 10.2 billion cards for or whatever.
Yeah. Well, there you go. It sounds like it was a good event all around. Saw a lot of people having fun. And every time I see someone post a
how
Pokemon
long
deck,
was the longest round?
So round 1 went 30 minutes over, but after that it was
or something like that.
Yeah, over 50 minutes. Yeah. So it was an hour 20 total. But every round after that I think was like a 15 minute turnover, which for a 2,300 person event is pretty reasonable. Yeah. By the way, the TCG 17 Up Division tournament was 2,300 people. Between all 3 age divisions for TCG, it was like 2,800 or something. And then also there's a 1,000 person video game tournament. Plus there's Pokemon Go tournaments. It was like 5,000 people in the room. It was wow. And this is like an average event for Pokemon.
Sounds like fun. I'm not gonna lie. I should get out to one sometime.
You should.
Even with all of those people and all of those tournament rounds, it went faster than the CEDH Final at. I don't know what SLC is that what I saw? Some event.
Salt Lake City, yeah.
Yeah, some real person playing CDH event. The finals went, I shit you not, 11 hours and ended in a draw. I don't know how you end in a draw.
Well,
when there's no time limit, I guess. I don't really care to know, to be honest. 11 hours.
But our listeners do, and so I will tell you. From what I understand, there was one person in this finals who had a flight to catch. Either that night or the next day or something. And so there was a soft time limit imposed. And then it seems that hearsay states that this person filibustered for 11 hours, berated people, and just drug it out, and like argued every which way. I'm not fully sure what the end goal was there, but kind of seems like one person was to blame for this. You know, outside of the whole fact that it's a dysfunctional, horrible format with a bunch of structural issues. It seems as though one person was largely responsible for the 11 hours issue.
I blame the judges. I blame the tournament organizer. I blame the convention center organizer. I blame Richard Garfield. Everyone is to blame for that.
That's what I said. It's like structural issues with this jokeable format. There had to be one antagonist, though.
The judges and the TO. I don't know them. I don't know. I know some of them, like who these people are. So I'm not saying anything personally negative about anybody. Something went wrong in your tournament. If this happened in your finals and it was not, like, that is not okay to have people sit down for 11 hours. That is not reasonable. You are telling every future player to not show up to your tournament because the finals will be the worst experience of your life.
Now, on the other hand, all that is true, Corbin. On the other hand, one of the peoples in the finals, the one accused of being the antagonist here, did tweet about an hour and a half ago, a bunch of like praying emojis. Thank you, Salt City CEDH, and my finals pod of the 10K, the most epic game of my career. Stunned to see the reaction to the game online. Vibes were immaculate. And the TOs and judges grinded for over 11 hours. Love this game and the players who make it happen. 4 more praying emojis. Honestly.
Oh, no.
You kind of gotta hand it to them. That shit's really funny.
If you dive into the Reddit comments, and I don't recommend doing, allegedly this person, and I obviously don't know them or CDH or anything except 11 hours, apparently is a minor celebrity in the CDH scene, and was given, like, this contributed to either the politicking or the talking or the leeway. Some people called it bullying at the final table.
Listen, as a Yu-Gi-Oh fan, I'm just so excited that we finally have shadow games being a real thing.
This is insanity. Who was the judge?
I don't think I've ever done anything for 11 hours.
Don't let them do that.
Maybe sleep like once.
Yeah, but like
die. Like, That's a long time to be doing something, you know?
So like at this point, right, like the rules are out the window. Like, why can't we just make up our own rules? Like going to the bathroom costs 10 life. Why can't we?
So what's
why
interesting
can't we just
is
throw it in there.
Yeah.
Like,
on
what
this,
do we do it? Like,
I was actually talking to
drink
one of
a
the
water, discard 3 cards. Like, let's go.
Well, there was that end of game tournament procedure list that was going around a week or two ago that had a bunch of alternate tiebreak systems chosen at random, secret to the players, to resolve these issues with so many draws and so on. And everyone hated that and made fun of that too. So like it does come down to structural issues, but someone has to step in at the 8-hour mark. Once you've put in a day of work, a work day, that's it, man. You don't go further than that. What are we doing here?
I think it's also a cultural issue. Now, bear with me on this. The kind of person who becomes a Magic judge, by and large, and again, broad generalizations here, is kind of like we'll call them a bureaucracy pervert.
Yeah.
And so an 11-hour game of Magic, like, litigating that has to be exhilarating. And the kind of person to sign up for a CEDH tournament must really love the idea of being in, like, Saw.
Yeah.
And so, like, they're sitting there, it's hour 7, they've had to piss for 3 hours. Someone just said that their commander was cuck-coded, and they're just, like, rock hard. They're just like, this is the best thing that's ever happened to me. I'm being tortured via magic? And then a content creator's like, don't you know who I am? And all of a sudden they're sitting there like, oh my god, this is just like when Jigsaw said, do you know who I am in Saw 3? Oh my god, it's just like that. And so it's a cultural thing where judges are perverts and CEDH players are perverts. Again, bureaucracy style, not in any bad way.
Once you get to hour 6 or 7, at that point you may as well try to set the record, which you are setting.
Yeah.
Exactly. You're just running out the clock at that point. We're in garbage time.
So there's a famous RuneScape player who was chasing a world record for experience and was pretty deep into second place and had no chance of getting first, and also had no chance of getting third. And this person sat in their chair for, I believe, a similar amount of time, 11 or 12 hours, and with like 3 or 4 hours left on the clock, their pants and continued to play the game. And again, 0 impact on first or third place. And so, like, that's where the bar is now, guys. Y'all CEDH Roxy players, you gotta step up. This tournament was actually a charity event to bring awareness to the American legal system and all of its flaws. And so they had to filibuster. If you stand on your feet and talk about American politics for 13 hours, you too can potentially stop genocide. And that's what they were there to teach us, the CEDH event.
I was kind of getting into CEDH a little bit, found some interesting. Thought, what if you just play a Magebane Lizard and burn everyone to death? And then I saw this. And I'm good. I'll stick to taking pictures.
There's probably a clip out there of me saying that CEDH is the future of competitive Magic a couple years ago, because I did say it. Because I played it a couple times and it was super fun, and then I played it with somebody who wasn't 3 of my closest friends with decks that were all built by one guy, and I was just like, oh, politicking is bad, actually. Conceptually, it's actually really cool. Like, the gameplay of CEDH is really fun. The meta stuff is not.
Also,
I think all of these people were just auditioning to be Sam Black's next Horcrux.
Yeah, like, I don't know. We're in, like, year 5 of whatever CEDH now. And, like, year 6, 7, I don't know. It's been a long time. And at some point, you thought the drama would stop. And it just hasn't. So, like, at some point...
I think if we view this from, like, the lens, like, a grander historical context of, like, Magic not being in its infancy anymore, and these guys still are in their Stone Age, right? Like, it's very much like history is a very long spectrum and life is one long session, and like us as Magic players from our skyscrapers are like looking at them throwing rocks at each other and making fire and like going through all the same mistakes that an early society does.
I think that is one
They're in their Mike Long era.
Yeah, I mean, that's one take on it, but that's what I'm saying. We've been doing this for a while now. The drama doesn't seem. I mean, there's drama into every, but I don't know, man. It feels like at some point it is like for whatever reason this style of gameplay is attracting people who like the drama, and maybe that overlaps with the people who like the politicking angle. I don't know, but like hearing 11-hour final and then reading, oh, this person is minor CEDH celebrity, so the rules are different for the, and it's like, what are we doing here, y'all? Like, can you just run a real tournament, maybe?
What was the prize? What was the reward?
Don't know.
It was a 10K.
SCG's been running these events, and they've been running very well.
So,
for what it's worth,
if we start looking at their hourly, this becomes really funny. I mean, it's already
that's what
really
I mean.
funny.
Man. That's what I mean. Like, once you put in a day of work into just the finals, by the way, not the rest of the tournament, go to bed. All right, let's move on. Let's talk breaking.
No, Corbin, Corbin, we have 10 more hours of this. What the f*** are you doing?
Oh, my bad. Yeah. That's a ASMR recording here. Let's talk breaking bulk.
Breaking bulk time. Breaking bulk time. Break.
Oh, yeah, breaking bulk. There's so much good stuff.
It's a pick. Breaking bulk. The end.
First person to leave the podcast call, minus 10K. Do you know who I am?
So, important question about breaking bulk.
Oh, gosh.
Do I have to use the original printing of a card?
No.
If I'm gonna
Originally, yes. Nowadays, no.
I think you have to say what printing the version you are saying is from.
Sure.
Yeah, and I mean, you do generally tell people where it was originally printed.
Yeah.
That's like a hint later on,
Yeah. All right, we're on the same page. Go ahead.
I have a Modern Horizons, OG Modern Horizons, Red Common.
Flashback, deal 1 damage. Lava dart.
You got it, Corbin. Corbin. Yeah.
Hell yeah.
So, Lava Dart is still cheap, but its buy list is higher than its retail. They're paying $0.25 on CK. The Judgment copies, buy list is $1, and it's like 38 cents low. The really interesting thing is that the direct low for foil Modern Horizons 1 Lava Dart is $45.
Direct is funny.
Buy list on it is, like, Strike Zone's paying 10 on a card that is 10 retail. Lava Dart is seeing play a lot right now in Modern because of Corey Steelcutter, and honestly, the fact that there are direct listings for foil Modern Horizons 1 that are the same price as listings for foil Judgment ones makes me feel like something is going on there. The actual answer, though, that's like pick of the week territory. The actual breaking bulk is that Lava Dart's getting close to $1 for Judgment copies on buy list.
Pre-modern is, I think, going to pop off soon and has been popping off. I've been saying it will pop off soon for a while, but like that's because it has been popping off
just quietly,
slowly.
Yeah,
and clean copies of all of these cards are so hard to find.
Yep.
And no matter how much Wizards chases the dragon of retro border new thing, there will always be such a stranglehold for nostalgia on the actual original old border versions of stuff like this, Painlands, Call of the Herd. All of these have very, very real huge premiums, and you should treat them as such, as long as they're clean. This is very similar to like revised territory where near mint revised Shivan Dragon $30, HP $5. Very, very similar correlation.
Call of the Herd is a specific one where like there is a time shifted one that is retro border, and it's like a quarter or $1 maybe. And I remember being at Eternal Weekend last year watching somebody pay $60 American dollars for 4 Odyssey copies of Call of the Herd.
Yeah,
because like they want that set symbol. They want it to be the pre-modern one.
All right, I have a breaking bulk that is, again, when you asked what the rules were, I thought you were gonna bring in some nonsense. I am bringing in some nonsense right now.
Go figure.
I have, so every basic land of a specific type from a specific set is a breaking bulk. and I'm gonna relegate it to the pre-modern era. So you have to guess the basic land type and the set, and all of them are good. So you could say like, what?
Onslaught Plains.
No.
Charge of the
Odyssey
Lara
Plains.
Island.
Closer. No,
Is it the Thunderbolt Plains or whatever?
No.
I know that one. I don't know what.
You're getting warmer by going backwards.
Is it any of the Urza Saga lands? Because I got infinite of those.
Also warmer. Not Urza Saga.
Tempest
Not
Plains?
Urza.
Cool.
Nope. Very, very close.
With the right set?
In between.
In between Saga and
No,
Tempest?
before
Oh,
Tempest.
Mirage. Yeah, Mirage basics are all gorgeous, yeah.
Mirage, I mean, I'm specifically picking mountains just to be cheeky, but every Mirage mountain is, like, actually money, and every Mirage basic is also money, but these actually sell. You should always pick all of your Mirage basics out of bulk. A lot of other pre-modern sets do vary, like Cass said, like, Odyssey, Thunderbolt Plains is good. There are certain Urza's lands that are good. But if you see a Mirage set symbol on a basic land, you should just pick it because they are a bunch of money. Some of them are less money. Like the most affordable Mirage basic is 39 cents TCG Marketplace, but like the direct low premium is over $1, so that's fine. It still has buy with support. And the most expensive Mirage basic is the very scarlet big mountain off in the distance, and it's $2. So you should always pick all of your Mirage basics.
There you go. All right, I also have a $2 card, and I don't think you all are going to get it. It's a Streets of New Capenna blue uncommon.
So it's not offer you can't refuse.
Why not?
Because you said you don't think I'm going to get it.
Okay, you're right. It's not an offer you can't refuse.
Is Witness Protection an uncommon?
No,
It's
it's
a
a
common, I
common.
believe. Is it,
Slip out the back.
Ooh, that was good, DJ. It is Slip Out the Back. Buy list on Slip Out the Back is $1.60 to Card Kingdom. Wild. And it's about $1.50 to $2 card. Just 1 mana blue instant, put a 1/1 counter on a creature, it phases out. Nice, simple, protects your stuff, worth a couple bucks.
This doesn't have reprints, right?
I don't think so.
No, it's in Ravnica Clue, so it does not have reprints. You're right. That is the only printing. Streets of New Capenna, Ravnica Clue, famously the Mew Under the Truck set. A lot of people thought it existed, but it did not.
Is it, what, was that a popular set? Like, did that thing do well? Did it have anything worth getting?
I had a Shockland in every box, right?
There are some really obscure legendary creatures that are actually worth something in that set, but by and large, the set was just kind of forgotten about because a million products were coming out at once or whatever. Yeah. Not something that a bunch of people just cracked and opened. So there are some obscure legendary creatures.
There's exactly
in that set
4
that are worth
cards.
Something.
4 cards in that set worth more than the price of a.
I know the insect creature is very good.
It's $20. It's by far everything else is $10 or under, and 2 of the 3 of them are reprints. But yeah, Amzu, Swarm's Hunger. Never seen that card before. $20. Yeah, I knew this set existed, but yeah, I don't know that I've ever actually seen a card in real life out of it. Okay, well there you go. Not a bad week of breaking bulk, actually. I think we all kind of crushed it. Go us. Good at this.
Each of us got 1 point. The points don't matter.
Too soon. Around the horn
That's what
reference.
you're talking about.
All right, let's talk about Final Fantasy. At least just a little bit. We'll dive into it more, I'm sure, over the coming weeks. But the previews are all here. The set releases in a week or so by the time this episode comes out. What do you all think? Does it seem to be hitting all the notes and popularity you thought it would?
So that's selling really, really, really well.
Yep.
We kind of tried to talk about it last week, but neither of us have ever played a Final Fantasy game, so we were just kind of like, this guy's got a cool ability.
Yeah, we'll find a Final Fantasy expert to come on and grill us all on it once the full set's released in a couple weeks. But that'll be a fun one. I know that people are really, to do my little Jason impression here, popping off around Titus in Commander. Been really popular. That's driven the price on some stuff. Lots of Final Fantasy. So more Final Fantasy to come, but I believe pre-release is in what, a week?
I actually have an interesting Final Fantasy thing to talk about.
Yeah, go ahead.
I think there was like a Reddit thread or something about this. It was brought to my attention. The card VV Ornithir, just like a mythic in the set, the regular versions of the card.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The current low listing is like $150, and there are sales at $150, pre-sales for a mythic rare and a standard
funny.
set. But here's why: it's because
God.
someone who plays Final Fantasy but doesn't know Magic doesn't realize that card's going to be $20.
That's very true.
I'm like, there, you know, I mean, what, 1, 2, 3, 4 copies have sold at $150 in the last 2 days.
That's
and copies for that were selling at $70 regularly. And it's because it's not Magic players buying VV or whatever. It's Final Fantasy fans.
Wow, that's wild.
And we exist in this world now where if you can do pre-sales, like if you have a brick and mortar store that can do pre-sales for Final Fantasy, it might actually be more profitable to crack boxes if you can get these kind of numbers than to sell them at, I don't know, 3x whatever retail is, right? Like it's
that's crazy.
we are in a new era of Magic and Magic finance and vending.
I agree with you. I also think that's a very dangerous game to continue playing set over set, as
Agreed.
those kinds of players learned that you could just cancel a pre-order and then you're just kind of.
But there's not going to be people repeating this, right? When we go to do the Avatar set, it's going to be Avatar fans, not Final Fantasy fans.
Sure.
We're bringing in new people constantly who don't know these things.
Sure. No, you're right. That is.
And like, if they do another Final Fantasy set, there's going to be even more Final Fantasy people who get brought in, right? Marvel fans? Are you kidding me? Those people who pay like $400 for a Funko Pop at SDCC, they're not going to blink. They're not going to hesitate for even a second to purchase a $400, I don't know, serialized Thanos, or not like mythic rare Thanos on pre-order. Like, it doesn't matter.
What was the last time a standard mythic pre-sold for a 3-digit number? It had to have been like post Jace the Mind Sculptor era.
Well, yeah.
But like pre.
They were all $50. Like all the pre-order mythics or whatever, like Planeswalker started at 50 and they capped it like 80. I don't think they ever got to 100 on pre-order.
That's why I can't think
so
of
either.
Like Jace Finn's Prodigy got to $100, but that was not during pre-sales. Like any $100 standard card was discovered, not pre-sold.
Was there anything in like Modern Horizons 1 that pre-sold for 100? I don't think so.
I don't think so either, y'all, because
not
like,
even Reddit 6.
Yeah.
Also,
Reddit 6 was
like
$20 on release.
I mean, inflation 10 years ago would make selling for $100 like even more absurd, or even 8 years. Like inflation has been really extreme over like 6 to 7 years. So don't think that there were.
I'm thinking like maybe like a Masters set card, like Eternal Masters Force of Will or something.
Maybe
like
a Mana
Crypt. Exactly
Crypt.
that.
Yeah, or Mana Crypt or something. Like that kind of thing. But like this, I don't. To me, that doesn't count. Yeah, because it's reprinting a $300 card or whatever. It's different.
Let us know in the TikTok comments. Let us know on the internet. Like, comment on the internet. That's where you should go. Like we just talked about, you haven't been on the internet in a while. Go on the internet, comment on Brainstorm Brewery. Not on YouTube, not on email, because you have to use the internet.
Log in.
I'll tell you that I bought 2 Final Fantasy collector boosters. I'm selling one to someone in cash who's a friend of mine. That's gonna be my gambling money in Vegas. Which is funny because I could just turn around and spend it and gamble on a box of Final Fantasy. But I bought 2 boxes at $700 using credit. The place I used that is now sold out. So I think those are the exact 2 boxes that I'm going to get. So I'm going to sell one and then probably just put the other in the closet. Right? Does that seem like the thing to do?
Sure.
Opening it feels terrible.
Yes,
right?
Maybe.
I agree.
Well, that's the thing. It's like you're just straight up gambling that you're trying to pull a serialized. Because opening it doesn't. a $700 box. You open up a $50 card and you're like, oh, that's not great. Like,
Right.
what? Like, that's insane.
It's one of those things where it's tough because obviously you're supposed to keep it sealed or whatever, but when are you supposed to sell it? Like, when are you supposed to get out
the
on that?
hype is now. There's not
Right.
there's not more hype later.
But
there kind of is, because like they're serialized cards in the set, so they're not making more collector. I mean, they don't make more collector boxes anyways, but like Fallout boxes doubled in price over the last year, right?
I was really
Right.
hoping I was going to be able to get another month of credit and get a third. But
I feel
that's
like,
two for me.
but Fallout boxes didn't get like a second wave. We're gonna get more Final Fantasy, and it might not be the same Final Fantasy stuff, but we'll get like holiday blah 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 blah
Right.
whatever.
But like Final Fantasy is being marketed a lot more than Fallout. It's a standard set, and so like there's just more exposure on it, right? There's a
Yeah,
pro for
I
Final
agree.
Fantasy, there was not for Fallout. Also, I don't know if this is a true statement, but I kind of feel like the sort of person who like I think Final Fantasy is more popular than Fallout at a baseline.
Yeah.
Not by that much anymore, because like they got like a Amazon show or whatever for
Worldwide,
Fallout, but-
probably, but yeah.
yeah. But also, like, the kind of person who plays Final Fantasy is the kind of person, like, especially Final Fantasy 14, is the kind of person who spends $800 getting custom art of the character made or whatever. And that person's not going to bat an eye at spending $700. Like, Fallout fans buy a video game every once in a while. I feel like it's different classes of customer in terms of how much they spend.
We can look at Lord of the Rings and see that the collector boxes went up massively over time. But like, I also feel like that did kind of sneak up on people where they didn't realize how scarce it was going to be. Frankly, and everyone with Final Fantasy seems to realize that. So like, $700 collector booster boxes to me are just a mystery as to whether that becomes $1,000 or it becomes $750.
Not worth the gamble, in my opinion.
Yeah. The other question is,
Either
like,
way.
how many people have to think like you and stash their box that the singles are like meaningfully scarce, and then it becomes positive EV to open them.
Well,
I don't know if
that's
that's ever a reality, but it could.
But how many
I feel
people
like
can actually
it's-
execute on that if that's the case, right? Like, just
Instead of poking the unknown bear, just go buy whatever the secret airdrop is and spend the $700 on a bundle. Like, I don't know.
Here's the other thing, and we're gonna get into this now. How many people can afford to stash a $700 box in their closet?
Yes.
Brings me to my next point, which is, it's not on the show notes, but I wanted to talk about it. It is the new Commander deck, Everybody's Invited.
Uh-huh.
I believe it's still available on the Secret Lair website, right?
Yeah, I don't think it was super
Double-checking.
popular from what I understand.
Right.
Which is
Yeah, it's still
crazy
available
to me.
for $199.99. Still available.
It is more expensive
There are-
than the previous ones.
Yes. There are multiple listings on TCG Player of these decks at $205, which means if you're tax exempt, you have no
What?
fees somehow. Like, people are losing money to sell these because they bought them and they have to turn them because they don't have enough free flowing capital, right?
I'm wondering,
And,
like,
like-
did some people just buy the bundle and then they're selling this but losing money on it less than they would have if they didn't buy the bundle? Like, I don't know.
That might be the actual things. I think people are bad with cash flow management.
That
Right.
that is certainly Occam's razor, yes.
Yeah,
But, like-
I mean, there also could be that, I guess I don't know, there would be a way for people to have a line on these decks that is better than, like, these were purely just on the website. They weren't, there's no distribution or, like,
It's
where someone
mostly
could
just smaller. It's mostly just smaller TCG Player accounts with like fairly low feedback. People who are just trying to backpack.
That's wild. Yeah, and they thought they'd go up or whatever.
I'm still a big fan of these decks in
I
the
spent
long
some-
term, to be fair.
I spent some time poking around the Pokemon investing subreddit, not for like advice or anything, just to see kind of like try to get an idea of who is out there scalping this like stuff, right? Like trying to just see what, and it really is wild because it's a mix of people who tell themselves, like, it basically is people who tell themselves they're in it to make a profit, but then they always say stuff like, can't wait to open this box, or I broke down and opened this box, wish I hadn't. And just like all this stuff that makes it clear they actually are the market, like they are the mark, literally, right? Like these idiots are the reason this
Weak
stuff.
willed fools.
Like it's just, but they, yeah. But I do
These
see
are
like,
booster packs. Some of these have been here for 10 years. You fools.
yeah, I got a closet
Physical
full of them.
bits.
I got a closet full of them, and I don't ever open them. I just keep piling them up. But yeah, so these people are clearly like they are the mark. They are the they blame the scalpers, but they're clearly the reasons. But it is shocking to me how some of them are talking about how they're holding $2,000 or $3,000 in product to hold on to. There you go, DJ. That's beautiful.
Corbin, what are these?
For everybody watching, DJ is holding up right now a pair of light. What does it say? Light and heavy.
I am impressed that you translated that from my handwriting and camera reverse.
Yeah, well, I'm familiar with the concept. Yeah, those are packs of Pokemon. Those are fossil packs. The heavier ones are more likely to have a foil, right?
Correct.
Yeah, there you go. Those are nice. That's really cool that you got that, actually, DJ. My friend and I, when we framed our Pokemon cards up on the wall, we had to buy empty Pokemon booster packs for Jungle.
No, Corbin. No, you didn't have to.
We chose
to. You could have reached out to me.
I don't know. Have you had those for 5 years, but 6 years? That's how long we've had this frame now. But it was really expensive to buy a full booster pack, so we bought empty ones instead.
My people will talk to your people. Let's get you some booster packs.
Okay, yeah, we'll get on that. But anyway, so like these people are talking about dropping $3,000-$4,000 and just holding it. So I do wonder how many people can actually hold on to more than 3 Final Fantasy collector boxes, right? Like that's $2,000. That is a lot of money. We're not talking about $300 collector booster boxes here, you know?
One of my favorite, this might not be able to make it in the show, but we'll see. One of my favorite questions that was posed to myself and a bunch of different vendors was, what does your current bankroll / amount of assets that you have available have to be before it is like correct to purchase a Black Lotus with the intent to flip it? Like to spend like $8,000 whatever to buy a Black Lotus.
Yeah.
And answers range from like, well, I wouldn't want to spend more than 20% of my bankroll on one opportunity. And my favorite answer was a guy being like, I don't know, if I have negative $5 million, I gotta make money somehow. That's just the correct answer, is just like, if you're in the business of making money, you gotta be making money.
Good stuff. All right, well, speaking of the business of making money, that is what we use MTGstocks for, the #1 financial magic resource on the internet, where we bring all of our breaking bulks and picks of the week to you, courtesy of their amazing tools. And it is time, with that said, for Pick of the Week.
Pick of the week, pick of the week, pick of the week. Time for the pick of the week.
DJ, why don't you go ahead? I know you got to get out of here pretty soon. Why don't you go ahead and hop on in first?
My pick of the week is just in general. I've picked this previously, and I think I'm gonna do it again. Gold border pre-modern Magic cards. Just in general, you know, firing it off. It's been a while since I've had a breaking bulk and/or pick of the week that is just this asset class, you fool. And you know, I'm gonna do it again because I think pre-modern is gonna boom, and it has been booming. It's all the booms, all the time, all the boom booms, as Corbin's kids would say. And I think Gold Border Survival is at its peak. That is one that I would stay away from, but I think a lot of other Gold Border cards are worth looking into, and just pre-modern cards in general. Just take a look around that format. I don't play the format. I'm just looking to sell pickaxes in the Gold Rush. But yeah, just look at those cards from what is it? Ice Age to Scourge. Ice Age to Scourge.
All right, Cass, what do you got?
I have a card that I think is going to be quite powerful in Modern with some number of the Final Fantasy cards, and also probably goes to Commander decks too. I don't know. I don't play that format, but Sigarda's Aid. Yeah. Sigarda's Aid also probably goes to all the Captain America things we're getting later this year, but it is a very powerful enchantment that is seen playing competitive Modern decks. And we just keep getting more and more powerful equipment. We also have Cloud in the new set, cares about finding equipment, and reducing equip costs is one of the most important things. This is a recurring way to do that.
I was actually wondering why this hadn't spiked more recently with some of the other equipment cards going up, for all of the reasons you just mentioned. Right, it was in Commander Legends. It's got 1 or 2 secret layers, but honestly, not all that much, given that it's 2025. Right, Eldritch Moon was forever ago, and yeah. All right, I've got a card that. Do what?
Card's like only $8 or $9, and it's a card that's been 20 before, I believe. Right.
Yes, it at one point was at least like in that 15 $8-ish range when Hammer Time's really popping off in Mod. All right, I'll wrap it up this week with a we're going beyond with this one. We're going way out there. We're going to universes. Timey-wimey stuff here. Doctor Who card. Danny Pink. Now you got to get really deep into some Doctor Who lore, but for those of you who followed the 12th, I think it was, 12th Doctor's run, maybe 11th, I think 12th though. Danny Pink was some throwaway character with a weird storyline who was supposed to be really important or something, but then just disappeared. Honestly, it wasn't great. They made a magic card of him. It had been $4 forever. In the past week, it has gone from about 4 to 6, and I think it's going to be 10 very shortly. It has Mentor, so we've got a blue counter card here. I imagine this has to do with Titus or something like that. Creatures you control have whenever one or more counters are put on this creature for the first time each turn, draw a card. So yes, probably. And Danny Pink spiking up. All right, well, I think that wraps it up for us this week. So everybody, thank you so much for listening to Brainstorm Brewery. Shout out to our sponsor, MTGstocks. Thank you for DJ and Cass for hanging out with me. Thank you all of you who go to patreon.com/BSB, support us, and truly make this podcast possible. See you next week.
Bye.